Hi, my name is Karen Knight, and I'm the Vegan Amateur. Right, so this video is part 2 of the Christmas treats video from the sort of big shops here in the UK. So last week I went through a few things. This week I have a lot more to go through, not necessarily a lot more shops to actually get through, just a lot more stuff really. So I've got more from Sainsburys. I visited Tesco's, and I've also got some bits and pieces from Aldi's. Sorry if you wanted anything from Morrison's or any of those or any other shops like Lidl or Waitrose. I did try Waitrose, but they didn't have a lot on offer there. But yeah, that's really all I could get to, and really honestly, I'm starting to get sort of tired of eating party food, as fun as it actually sounds. Right, so I'll jump right in, starting with all the sort of savory bits, and then we're gonna kind of end on a sweet note. So I'll start with what else I found in Sainsbury's. I think if you remember last time, I found pigs in blankets, or as they were calling them, pups in blankets, that I thought were actually amazing. So we found something else, which are sage and onion stuffing balls. That's at Sainsbury's. They're kind of mushroom based. We had a little bit of this last night. Actually, we had all of it last night. Another item that is actually really, really good. So for the sort of Christmas vegan stuff, Sainsbury's are really kind of hitting it. There's not loads, but what they've got and what I've picked up to try has actually been really good. Really meaty, really sort of satisfying flavor. There definitely weren't any left after me and Andy got to them. Right, so moving on from Sainsbury's, I'll talk a little bit about Tesco. So Tesco had a vegetable spring roll, I'm pretty sure. I've eaten so many things. Actually, they didn't have a vegetable spring roll that I picked up. The only thing that I actually have picked up from Tesco, let me just look through my little bits and pieces here. Yeah, the only bit that I actually picked up from Tesco was these sweet and sour vegetable wontons. So you'll probably remember that last week there were a few things from Marks and Spencer's that kind of went along that Asian kind of vibe, parcels with vegetables inside. So this is really along the same lines as that. So again, really nice flavor. It is kind of difficult to get this kind of thing wrong. You've got probably a rice paper kind of wrapper, and then some vegetables with some seasoning inside. So these were perfectly fine. You know, if you're in Tesco or if that's your shop, I wouldn't shy away from getting those. I was actually a little bit surprised with Tesco's kind of Christmassy bits, or maybe I just missed it. I actually did an online shop, and Tesco actually have a lot of vegan items just in general all the time. So it's just a little bit I'm not even sure. Yeah, it does seem like a Christmassy kind of party thing. I'm not really sure why there wasn't anything sort of geared too much towards, Christmas and vegan, but this is what I found. And it is really good. And maybe because they have such a good selection of stuff that's not just for Christmas or just geared towards Christmas, maybe that's why they didn't feel the need to sort of beef up their selection there. Okay, so moving on from Tesco, we'll hit Aldi. So Aldi had so much stuff. I couldn't actually believe it. I thought I was gonna go in there and kind of see some of the normal things that I normally see, but they had quite a few things. So many things that I opted to not even try a couple of things, just because they kind of run along the same lines of what you would get with your other shops. So things like spring rolls. They did have something like that I didn't try because I don't know. I suppose it was geared towards Christmas, but it wasn't really like a party food kind of thing. But it was kind of like this pastry shell with like a root vegetable filling that I was thinking about getting, and then I just sort of decided against it. Just wanted to concentrate on the sort of more party celebration style dishes. But just so you know, they do have a lot of stuff, and I was actually really impressed, being that it is such a sort of budget shop. Okay, so let's get started with talking about those things. So the first one I'll talk about is the vegetable tempura nest. So another item with that sort of Asian flair. I think that's kind of easy, sort of easier to, I think, do the Asian kind of dishes or make Asian dishes vegan. I think the real challenge is when you get to some of the more traditional Western style dishes, making those kinds of things vegan. But these are really good. So they're basically like shredded vegetables kind of made into a little bit of a nest with the tempura batter around it, made into a little sort of almost like a very big tater tot, but it's made of all kinds of vegetables. These are the kind of thing that you just throw in the oven, 190 degrees, 200 degrees, put it in there for like 15 minutes or something, 12 to 15 minutes. Mine might be a tiny bit well done because I may have taken my eye off the ball with those and some other items. So the pictures you're probably seeing might look a little browner than what you want them. But they tasted really nice. Get the sweet and sour dip out, get the soy sauce out for those. And that they will be really good for sort of any party situation. So the next item I wanted to show off, there were kind of two things that I was excited about. But this is one of them. It is a dim sum sort of selection. So they have char siu mushroom and jackfruit bao bun. I've never heard of a char siu mushroom, but whatever it is, it's really good. Curry vegetable shumai. So I think that these are, I don't know which is which really. Have a look at the picture. Oh yes, the curry vegetable shumai, that's the green one there. Really pretty kind of green pastry parcel with that curry vegetable filling inside. And then 5-spice jackfruit dumpling. I was really impressed that Aldi had brought out something that is very different to what I've seen in any of the other shops that I've actually been in. So I've been through Marks and Spencer, I've been through Waitrose, I've been through Sainsburys, Tesco, and none of them had something like this. So there's the little bao bun. I think bao is a sort of Korean style, steamed bread. Usually with some sort of shredded meat filling inside. This used jackfruit and they were really good. Andy actually really liked those. I also really liked these green shumai it had a very subtle curry flavor, so nothing to sort of like knock your head off. Obviously looking at more of the sort of large party pleaser kind of flavors, I suppose. And the 5-spice jackfruit dumpling, which was nice, but it has water chestnuts in it, and water chestnuts aren't my particular favorite thing, but that's not everybody, obviously. So I was really impressed that they had this, and I would definitely recommend getting that. Yeah, they were really nice. This is another one that is supposed to be microwave, but they actually if you don't have a microwave like me, they also have instructions for steaming, which I did, and it's really easy. Obviously, if you have a microwave, those are going to be a lot easier to do for larger parties and bigger batches. Right, so the last thing from Aldi I have is this Indian snack selection that I got in the freezer section. So this I was really happy to see because as you've probably noticed throughout this video and the last video, a lot of the veganized party items have been with more towards the sort of East Asian flair. And this is kind of more of a sort of South Asian kind of flair to it. So there's they've got onion bhajis in here, veggie samosas and veggie pakoras in this one. And they were all really delicious. The other thing about this one is it's 48 pieces. So if you have like a big party of people, you can get a couple of these and have loads and loads of snacks for everybody. And they were like less than £4 for 48 pieces. So, I mean, of all the shops that I've been in, for value for money and for selection, Aldi was like right at the top. And that's really to me, that's really saying something when you're kind of coming up against some of these fancier places like Marks and Spencer and Waitrose. And Waitrose, like, I don't know if, no, I just really didn't see anything, to be honest with you, that had anything to do with this sort of Christmas season for vegans. I don't want to like say that Waitrose is like horrible. They have actually a pretty good vegan section sort of for the everyday. And again, maybe that's the reason they didn't have anything specifically geared towards Christmas. But I do think that that was a miss. And that is my local shop. So maybe somebody else's local shop will have a different selection geared towards, you know, maybe they've got more vegans in their area and that's what they're catering for there. But the one that I went to didn't have loads. Yeah, and I wasn't really that excited about it. As far as your more sort of traditional flavors are concerned, and this, I'm just talking about all the savory stuff at this point, but your more traditional flavors are concerned, if you're looking for your pigs and blankets and your stuffing balls, that kind of thing, Sainsburys was the one that was really good. I know that this is some of the stuff that I've stocked up on for us this Christmas, just because Andy is, you know, he's British. He is used to having certain things at Christmas, and I am just really happy that we have an option for him and for me. I enjoy these things as well. That's something that will, you know, sort of keep some of that sort of nostalgia / tradition for him as well. Okay, so I'm going to move on to a couple of sweet items and then thinking about drinks as well. So the first sweet item I want to talk about is the Marks and Spencer Christmas pudding. So a lot of what you see around this time of year is full of kind of dried fruit and yeah, just that kind of thing. I have to say that that sort of dessert is not my favorite kind of dessert. I know it's traditional, but how do I say this? You know, it wasn't necessarily going to be a hit with me one way or another. I think that this is if you like this type of thing, then you're going to like this item. So I actually have never tried a Christmas pudding before. Surprisingly, I've been here for 10 years and I haven't tried a Christmas pudding, but it's kind of like one of these steamed or like boiled puddings. I think traditionally it's made with like suet or something. That sounds really horrible. But yeah, I got this from Marks and Spencer. I only got a baby one. They do have a big size one. So if you're actually looking to do this for your family gathering or for a larger gathering, then they do have a big size one. I just knew I didn't want to have a whole one because I'm not sure that either myself or Andy would sort of finish it. So I just got a baby one, which is nice that they have the little baby one for, you know, I don't know, the lonely people out there, or just like if there is only one person in your family that actually likes this. So it was chock full of dried fruit. I don't mind dried fruit, but like in this way, yeah, I don't know. I think traditionally it's also served with like, I think they put alcohol on it, like brandy, and then they set it on fire. But I think they also use some sort of like cream, I guess, to sort of cut the sweetness or to mix in with the sweetness. I tried it on its own because, yeah, I didn't want to go through all that. I just kind of wanted to taste it to see what it was like because I'd never tried it before. And maybe with all the sort of bells and whistles, more say cream, if I could find some like vegan cream or like even maybe some coconut yogurt or something like that, then maybe that would have kind of cut back on the sweetness of this. But this is actually from Marks and Spencer's made without lines. So it's actually made without wheat, as well as being made without dairy. So if you're into that kind of thing, yeah, Marks and Spencer's has something for you. The other thing that I wanted to talk about are Sainsburys free from, I think it's their free from line. They're mince pies. So mince pies are kind of a big thing over here in the UK. They're tiny baby pies filled with mincemeat, which is another dried fruit filling. But they've got like a lovely pastry around them, and you see them this time of year. People are just like eating them by the hundreds. Personally, again, it's this kind of dried fruit kind of item that it's not really my favorite type of dessert. I'll have like one or two during the Christmas season just to get me feeling festive and like, in the spirit of things. It's nice to have with, a coffee or a cup of tea or some, maybe some mulled wine or something like that. And the free from line that Sainsburys have is they're really nice. Andy actually really loved them. He likes mince pies more than me. And the pastry around the filling, that's how pies are made. That was really good. Yeah, a perfectly nice mince pie and no animal suffering in the making. So those are the two sweets I wanted to talk about because those are the kind of really Christmassy kind of things. I don't know what everybody else has for Christmas, but those are the sorts of things they have around here. I'm sure there's other things, but those are the things I could actually find in the shops near me and the places I was shopping online. The other things that I wanted to talk about are the sort of cream liqueur vegan alcoholic drinks, as well as I'll talk about wine as well in a minute. So Marks and Spencer have put out a vegan sort of alternative to your regular Baileys. And if you don't know what Baileys is, it's kind of an Irish cream liqueur. It's usually got a creamy base to it. And I guess they flavor it with like chocolate or something like that. So Marks and Spencer's have their own version of this. They've come out with their own version of this, which uses coconut and chocolate, I think. Yes, coconut and chocolate. And then there's obviously alcohol in there as well. So that was really, really nice. And then I found in Tesco another brand called Shannon's, which is probably an Irish cream I probably never would have tried before. I only have kind of gone with the big brand Bailey's Irish cream or cream liqueur. I can't remember. I'll figure it out before the video gets posted and put a line in somewhere about it. But the brand called Shannon's, they've come out with a vegan option for Irish cream. And this is also a coconut and chocolate one. They're both nice. They both taste really good. But of the two, if I had to choose, I would choose the Shannon's. That tasted really nice and it had a really alcoholic punch, which really matters this time of year. The other thing that I wanted to mention is that I've had a lot of questions lately about vegan wine. And I know that when it comes to sort of beverages, if they're not blatantly, if they don't blatantly have milk as an ingredient, people think, well, like, how can wine not be vegan? Or how can this drink not be vegan? Yeah, so traditionally, there are a lot of animal parts and whatnot, or products used in the processing of wine. So like fish gills or something like that. And then there's like a whole long list of like things that are used in the filtration process. So basically wine aged in the barrels, it gets a bit murky. And in order to make it look lovely and clear and filter it, animal products and parts are used. Who knew? And you wouldn't know unless you sort of suddenly thought about it and thought, oh, let me have a little bit of a Google. Yeah, so there are some wines that are not vegan. Thankfully, a lot of wines, especially the sort of own brand wines that I found, like Sainsburys Taste the Difference wine, and others are sort of catching on to it. If you just turn the bottle around, they usually will have a vegan label if you really want to be sure. I'm sure there are some out there that are vegan that don't actually have the vegan label on them, but if they're smart, they'll start getting that added to their label. So, people like me and hopefully you who are sort of looking for that, will spot it right away and pick their product over the next one. And I've found vegan wines in tons of places. I would say probably the best place for them that I've seen has been Tesco. Like if you go online and you look up vegan wine, for Tesco. There's so much to choose from. If you go into, and probably online, they're probably categorized better as well. Whereas if you go into the shop, it might be quite difficult to sort of sift through, look at every single bottle, just trying to find the vegan labels on things. So I trust Sainsburys' own because I know that their wine, or Sainsburys Taste the Difference wines, because I know that their wines are vegan. When I shop online at Tesco, just hit vegan wine, and I assume that probably would be true for a lot of the other shop websites. I'm not sure. I actually haven't tried that one. It's just we just happened to be doing our wine shop at Tesco. So yeah. I know it can be a little bit difficult to navigate, but if you put like maybe about, a minute's worth of extra effort into it, you might you'll find that you're able to find stuff that suits the vegan lifestyle. Okay, so that's it for me and my Christmas videos. This is part 2. Hopefully you have seen some things in this video that you'll want to try, and hopefully this doesn't, this makes you feel really hopeful that the shops are starting to respond to the demand for vegan items, and not just with things that are that we would consider inferior to their meat and dairy alternatives, but things that really taste good and make you say, well, what is the point in actually, causing any animal suffering or exploitation at this time of year? Okay, well, thanks again and have a good one. Merry Christmas.